we're going to put together some weeknight wonders. And I'm going to take you through at least 2 nights this week when I was able to prepare what I wanted, which was meat free, and to allow the big guy to get on board with what he wanted and have a little bit of that meat free along with it. So let me show you what I did. I'm Leona Dooley. Welcome to the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. When you're thinking about a more meat-free or plant-based dinner, then you're looking at those ingredients that are going to center, obviously, around your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, your legumes, your nuts, your seeds, and of course, plant-based proteins like tofu, you might have tempeh, and these ingredients form the basis for a wide variety of dishes. Now, I'm running into a little bit of a dilemma because while the big guy likes meat-free nights, he doesn't want it every night. He is not ready to give up the meat. So because of that, what I'm doing is that I'm making our dinners more nutritious. And in order to do that, that means that I'm going to eliminate salt. I'm going to even eliminate oils. And most of all, I'm going to eliminate the sugar. Now, we'll see how that goes, and I'll keep you posted on what his thoughts are along the way, because I'm finding as I'm researching that those are 3 culprits that we have to be very careful of, especially in today's American diet. And so we want to be able to make sure that the nutrition that we're putting into our bodies as well as our families is the best choice that we can possibly make. So let's see what we can do. I mentioned the fact that I'm cooking not only for myself, meat-free, but I'm also preparing dinner for the big guy who loves his meat. So you'll see that I'm going to warm up this nice ceramic skillet. I'm going to prepare pork chops, but I'm going to do it in a very healthy way. And he's going to be able to have the meat that he likes, but he's going to also have my meat-free cooking on the side. Now, let me tell you what I have found. In trying to get the big guy on board, I found that I had to be very creative. There were some things that I had to improve upon in order for the food that I was serving him to be such that he could eat it and he was happy with it and found it delicious. Now, all of those things have to be ticked off and checked off on my list. So let me tell you some of those. When you eliminate salt and sugar in particular from your regular regime as far as cooking's concerned, then there are some things you really do have to take into consideration. You have to have a way of being able to satisfy the taste buds without using those particular items. So that means that we're going to have to use other types of seasoning, and we have to kick those seasonings up so that the elimination of salt and the elimination of sugar will not be an issue. Second, we want to be able to add a certain type of natural sweetness or acidity. And so therefore we may find that we're using more oranges, more lemons, more limes, and even certain types of vinegar to our cooking. Now, as we think of fat, and you're thinking, okay, we're eliminating oils, but we want healthy fats in our diet. So that means that we're going to lean on avocados, natural nuts like cashews, even olives have a certain amount, as you know, of natural oils and natural fats. Now, olives, we have to be careful because they're very high in salt. So we take them in little bits. Next, we have to add, and you might consider this adding just a pinch of heat. Now, in my cooking, very often I will add a little what I call pepperoncino. That means that I will put a little pinch of red pepper flakes into the cooking, or add a little extra black pepper. And that's to add a little extra heat and to take away the body's desire for that salt, sugar, and oil. Also, we can even come up with salt-free, sugar-free, and oil-free sauces as a condiment. And we can also use nutritional yeast as a more cheesy, savory base to what we're cooking. We're preparing tonight's sauce with no additional oil. And while I know I purposely sauteed those pork chops to where the outside was just a little bit brown, but the inside is not done yet. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to kind of smother these pork chops into a more Mediterranean or more of a red sauce, as you might say. You might be wondering, where's your meat-free meal? And if that's the case, I have a monster of a baked potato that's in the oven cooking, and I'm going to slather it with all those good green beans, the cannelli beans, and the onions that we placed into the small black pot at the end. But you know what? I'm not going to feel left out, because you're going to see what I'm going to do at the end to top my dish so that it somewhat reflects what the big guy's having. So let's finish up his sauce. Now, I started the big guy's sauce in the skillet with the leavings from just browning the pork chops. And there was absolutely no oils left other than the little bit that was in that little bit of scraping that you saw. Now, on top of that, I added in just a touch of vegetable broth so that I could pull up all the frond that was left on the bottom of the skillet. From there, I've added in minced garlic, I've added in onions, I've added in smoked paprika, I added in a can of diced tomatoes, and I'm going to add a portion of the Classico roasted garlic pasta sauce, which for those of you who have followed me for any time, Classico really is my favorite pasta sauce. And I also added in some basil pesto sauce, which is my secret behind all of my pasta sauces. Anytime you want an addition of a good hit of Italian seasoning, add basil pesto sauce. We're going to place the top on this skillet, and we're going to let it simmer until the chops are done. And this is enough for the big guy to actually have 2 dinners. So a portion of this he'll have tonight, and then the other half I'm going to put in a container and place it into the freezer so that later on in the month I can pull this out and I don't have to cook his dinner from start. I can just prepare mine and we're ready to go. Those pork chops are simmered and the green beans are ready, so we're going to take the baked potato out of the oven. Did you know that meat-free or plant-based cooking has several benefits? Number one, it is known to reduce the risk of heart disease. It's Number two, it's also known to lower your cholesterol levels. And I don't know of very many people who aren't fighting that cholesterol. And number three, it's a great way to improve your weight. And so, looking at those three, I have to jump on the bandwagon and say, I need all of that. And so that means that I'm going to have to increase my intake of fruits and vegetables. My camera died. And so, because of that, I couldn't show you the final picture for the first night. You know, it happens. So, let me tell you what we did. The big guy had a delicious plate of his pork chops with his pasta sauce and that I had put together, along with lots of those green beans and cannelli beans. Now, my baked potato was stuffed with green beans, cannelli beans, and I topped it with about a fourth cup of the Classico pasta sauce. Yummy. I was satisfied, and so was he. Tonight, we're putting together a delicious potato corn chowder, my way. No salt, no oil, and certainly no sugar. And you know what? We're going to fix it in such a way that I can serve myself and have plenty to eat, as well as the big guy is going to have his version. So let me show you his and let me show you mine. I hope you realize how much fun it is to have you with me right here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. And you know, if you are not a family member, I hope you will certainly take the time to subscribe. And from there, make sure that you hit that like button because the YouTube gurus like that as well. And it also helps to support the channel. So let's get back to cooking. Now, you saw that I ran water over the potatoes, and that was to make sure that they didn't get dark. I also added in that water the onions that we chopped up, the 2 onions that we chopped up. And from there, we're going to add green peppers. We're also going to add some diced celery. And then this is our prep for early in the day. And so I'm just going to take this, put the top on it, put it into the refrigerator because this is going to be a 10-minute dinner. You're going to see how quick it comes together. In order for this to be a very fast dinner, we're going to need to start with a very hot Dutch oven. I'm going to pour in the vegetable stock. We need a full quart because after all, this is a soup. I'm purposely using stock rather than broth because stock has more flavor and it's a little deeper in color. Once the stock is added, I'm going to add in the onions, the green peppers, and the celery to the pot. And you know what? We might as well go ahead and add the potatoes. Off to the side, we're going to add in 2 cups of our soy milk. That's our plant-based milk. Remember, you don't have to use soy. You can certainly use an unsweetened almond milk, or you may even opt for an oat milk. Also keep in mind that we are not going to add the milk until the soup is almost finished, but we are going to add a little bit of Bragg's amino acids into the milk because of the fact that we want that little extra umami flavor that's going to be in the background. Then we're going to start to add all the flavors directly into the soup. So we're going to put in some house seasoning, and you know this is a mixture of black pepper, garlic, and onion powder. And we're going to sprinkle that in. And we're going to start with just 1 teaspoon at the beginning. But it may be that we may add a little bit extra. And certainly, remember, my recipe is just a starter for you. If you like more flavor, you can certainly add more. I'm also going to put in a little bit of smoked paprika. I'm using smoked because remember, we're kicking up the flavor so that we won't miss the salt or the oils or the sugars. So smoked paprika will give you more flavor. From there, I'm going to add Trader Joe's Mushroom and Company, and it's called Unami. And so we're going to shake a little bit of that across the soup as well. And that was about 1/4 of a teaspoon to 1/2 a teaspoon. And if you don't have that, it's okay. But I just happen to have some on the shelf, so that's why I'm using it. From there, I'm going to add in those things that we want with potatoes. Chopped chives. Chives are always delicious with potatoes. So I'm going to put in a cap full, which I've measured my cap, and it measures out to about 1/4 cup of chopped chives, And from there, we're going to have to throw in a little parsley in there anyway. So I already know I'm going to put that in. Oops. We're going to put the minced garlic in, but we're not going to do it exactly the way it started off here. So we need a really good heaping teaspoon of garlic. We're going to top our chowder with the top and just cover it up so all of this can start to really boil because we want everything in the soup to really get nice and soft. And what we're going to do is that we're going to, toward the end, we're going to actually use our immersion blender and blend about half of this soup. We're going to leave some chunky and some blended so that we'll have a nice consistency that's going to give you that definite comfort feeling when you're having your chowder, your potato corn chowder. When your chowder is nice and bubbly, then you're going to add your combination of your plant-based milk and that you saw my shot glass full of amino acids that I added to it. So all of that is going to be poured into the soup. At this point, I've had a chance to actually taste it, and it needs pepper, and it's time to add the nutritional yeast. And I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast to the mixture. Now that everything is hot and bubbly, we're ready to add the rest of the recipe to this pot. So we're going to add in 1 full can of drained whole kernel corn. Look at how thick and amazing this chowder looks. And all we have to do at this point is to add the milk. Now, once the milk is added, you're going to want to let the soup come back up to temperature, but you're not going to want to do a hard boil because we don't want to change the texture of the milk in this soup. So let's see if we can keep it stirring so it doesn't stick on the bottom and yet and still keep the soup nice and hot. An immersion blender is so nice to have, and you know it is so helpful, especially to the home cook when you're trying to prepare easy and delicious meals. And if you have anything that you want to alter the texture of, then your immersion blender is certainly the one that you want to use. I wanted to remind you of the fact that you must constantly stir this soup because you don't want it to stick on the bottom of your Dutch oven unless you just happen to have a non-stick Dutch oven. Then you might be able to occasionally stir the soup, but the more you stir it, the thicker it gets and the better it gets. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the big guy's dinner. He's going to have the potato corn chowder just like me. But the difference is that I have prepared some shrimp for him. So he's going to have a shrimp corn chowder, a shrimp potato corn chowder, while I'm going to have a potato corn chowder. So his shrimp is ready, and we're going to put these bowls together. Potatoes really are a staple to those of us who try to eat meat-free. And the reason is because of the fact that potatoes are so incredibly versatile, and you can use them in so many different ways. You can bake them, boil them, mash them, roast them, turn them into fries, chips, or potato salad. How about that? And all of this allows for a wide variety of meatless dishes. And so therefore it makes it a cornerstone of vegetarian and vegan diets. Now, if you like this kind of cooking, I hope you'll come back to Ebony Ivy Thyme, because you're going to see that we're going to do a little bit of meat-free along with a little bit of meat-based proteins as well. Because remember, we have to be able to satisfy everyone who's sitting at our table. I hope you have enjoyed today, because I have certainly enjoyed having you in the kitchen, not just for one day, but for 2 days. How about that? So, have a blessed and wonderful day.